She severed my oxygen line, I told the 911 operator, my voice faint and raspy. I had her on video sneaking into my house and snipping the tube like it was nothing. There was a long silence on the other end of the call, the kind where you can tell they're wondering if this is a prank or a real emergency. It wasn't a prank. I was sprawled on the floor, gasping for air, clawing at nothing while the footage played over and over on my phone. Linda Grayson, the neighborhood tyrant and HOA dictator, had waltzed into my leave-wying room Unan Vy Ted, crouched by my machine, and cut the line with the calm precision of someone pruning roses. Apparently, my life support clashed with the HOA's aesthetic standards. A week earlier, I'd come home from the hospital after a brutal respiratory infection, not COVID. Not the flu, just a VY-Sias mix of pneumonia and asthma that landed me in the ICU with a tube down my throat for 3 days. My wife, Sarah, wheeled me through the front door, a portable oxygen unit trailing behind like a loyal pet. I wasn't dying, but without that steady airflow, I might as well have been. We set up a simple system at home, discreet tubing, small tanks, and a quiet machine humming next to the couch. I thought I was in the clear. But I hadn't accounted for Linda. Linda Grayson had this perpetual squint, like she'd been born glaring and never stopped. She was the type to report a barbecue 4 streets over for too much smoke, the kind who'd measure your lawn with a ruler if she suspected a blade was out of line. When she first spotted my oxygen setup through the window, her lips puckered like she'd bitten a lemon. The next day, a note appeared, not mailed, not typed, but taped to my window with green painter's tape. It read, Medical Equipment VY Cybele from the Street VY Olats HOA Code 4.3b. Please relocate or conceal. Thank you, the board. I should have ignored it. Sarah wanted to tear it down and burn it, but I was exhausted. Recovery does that, it makes you patient and impatient all at once. I shifted the tank just behind the curtains and figured that it'd shut her up. It didn't. The next few days were uneasy. Linda lingered literally. She'd walk her yappy little dog past our house 8 times a day, stopping to peer at our windows. Sometimes she'd fake a shoelace tie, other times she'd just stand there, squinting at the blinds like she was daring me to cough out of compliance. Sarah started parking our car at an angle to block her VYEW. We laughed about it, nicknamed her the Watcher, but I didn't feel safe, not really. Then came the night I woke up suffocating. It was like drowning on land, me chest seized, my hands fumbled at the nasal cannula, but no air came. I ripped it off, tried to stand, and crashed into the coffee table. The room spun. I dragged myself across the rug, instinct driving me, until I reached the machine. It was dead. I thought the power had failed, but the lights were on and the machine blinked red. I traced the tubing cut clean, not torn, not worn, but sliced with scissors. My only clear thought was to check the footage. We'd installed a security system last year after someone swiped packages off our porch, full audio, wide angle, motion triggered. I grabbed my phone, pulled up the app, and rewound to the last alert. There she was, Linda, at 2:12 a.m. She strode up to our door like she owned it, jimmied the lock with something, a key or a pick, and slipped inside. No gloves, no mask. She went straight to the machine, knelt, pulled out scissors, and snipped the line like she was unveiling a new store. Then she looked around, smiled, and left. That smile light wasn't just creepy, it lit a fire in me, a mix of fear and fury. She thought she'd won, thought she was above it all. By the time paramedics arrived, Sarah had rushed home from her night shift, still half in scrubs, wild with panic. She'd gotten the 911 relay midshift and nearly totaled her car speeding back. She saw the severed tube, watched the footage, and went still cold, like a scalpel. She didn't yell, she just said, "We're going to ruin her." Linda was back the next morning, walking her dog in a bathrobe like nothing had happened. Sarah stormed out to confront her. I watched from the couch, oxygen mask on, security feed still up. Linda smiled as Sarah charged across the lawn, then said, "I just wanted to preserve the neighborhood's peace. Your husband's setup is unsettling to some residents." Sarah didn't hit her, she's not the type, but she got close enough that Linda tripped backward into her own azalea bush. She didn't know we had her on tape yet, still grinning like she'd done us a favor. I called the police that afternoon. Officer Ramirez showed up, the same guy who'd handled our package theft. He had this perpetually bored look, like nothing fazed him, until I showed him the VY Deo. "She just walked in," he asked, like she'd grabbed a snack from our fridge. "Yep," I said. He watched it again, then stared at me. "Sir, you're saying she broke in, messed with your medical gear at 2 a.m., And you've got it all on tape HD audio timestamped? I nodded. He chuckled low and dark when Linda smirked at the camera on her way out. You know, he said, I don't say this often, but your HOA's about to get real quiet. Linda didn't know she was caught not yet, but things were shifting. I didn't just want justice. I wanted every smug, entitled move she'd made to boomerang back and hit her square on her HOA-sanctioned doorstep. With the EVY dengue we had and the neighbors she'd terrorized for years, that hit was coming hard. Sarah didn't waste time. Once Ramirez left with a copy of the footage and a promise of charges, she turned into a force of nature. I was still on the backup oxygen, bundled on the couch like a frail grandpa, but Sarah was a whirlwind, phone in one hand, notepad in the other. She made lists, neighbors to contact, witnesses, legal steps. At the top, underlined twice encircled, Linda Grayson. She'd always been cool-headed in crises, thanks to her job, but this was personal. Someone had invaded our home, cut the line keeping me alive, and thought it was fine. Her anger wasn't loud, it simmered, planned. I'd seen her mad maybe 3 times in our marriage, each ended with someone else in tears. By noon, she'd filed an HOA complaint, drafted a police statement, and booked a lawyer consult. Meanwhile, Linda strutted around the block like royalty, even wavying at our house that afternoon, slow, mocking, like we were in some game she was winning. I wanted to yell, but my lungs wouldn't let me. Instead, I replayed the footage, zooming in. Her eyes flicked to the camera, then ignored it. The snip was calm, almost happy. She brushed her sleeve like she was proud. This wasn't a mistake, it was intentional. That evening, we got a knock, not the cops, but Mrs. Evelyn, our next-door neighbor. Pushing 80, sharp as a tack, she'd been a tech analyst before retiring early. Famous for her pecan pies and zero tolerance for HOA nonsense, she marched in with a flash drive and a coffee mug. Heard what happened, she said, sitting without asking. I want to help. Sarah blinked. Help how? Evelyn grinned. I've got my own little set of cameras, drones, night view I shown. Linda's been on my radar since she fined me for growing daisies instead of that awful turf grass. I've got audio from her backyard cam you'll want to hear right before she cut your line. She plugged the drive into our TV. Infrared footage rolled, Linda's face crystal clear. Maybe this'll teach him not to turn the neighborhood into a clinic, she said, voice cold. My fists clenched. Sarah's jaw locked so tight I thought it'd snap. Linda hadn't just acted on a whim, she planned it, wanted to punish us. Evelyn sipped her coffee. Go public, she said. Post it. Show everyone who she is. I shook my head. Not yet. Let the cops handle it first. I want it ironclad. Sarah agreed but added, the HOA's hearing about this now. We drafted a letter detailed, professional, with screenshots, timestamps, and transcribed audio, including Linda's damning words. We emailed every board member, every neighbor we knew, and our lawyer with the subject, urgent, EVY dengue of criminal act EVY tie by HOA member. We hit send. By morning, 3 board members quit, 1 called to apologize, saying they didn't know Linda had gone rogue. 2 defended her, claiming we were smearing her reputation. Sarah laughed so hard she nearly spat out her coffee. Linda posted on the HOA Facebook group. Some residents are spreading lies and editing VY Deos for drama. Trust your neighbors, not hysterics. Evelyn, ever the sniper, commented, Hey Linda, do scissors count as gardening tools under 4.3b? The post vanished in minutes. That day, Ramirez returned with a second officer, body cam rolling. We're filing charges, he said. Trespassing, damaging medical property, reckless endangerment, maybe attempted manslaughter, depending on the DA. Sarah crossed her arms. Good. Ramirez nodded at me. You okay? I lifted my mask, gave a shaky thumbs up. Still breathing. He smirked. Call if she tries anything, but I doubt she's feeling cocky now. But Linda didn't back down. That night we heard shouting. From the window, I saw her on her porch, yelling into her phone, wavooing at our house. Neighbors watched, one even set up a lawn chair. She thinks she's the VY Tim, Evelyn texted. Says the VY Deo's fake. I replied she cut my oxygen line. Evelyn shot back, she'll say you edited the air out of your lungs. We should have felt triumphant, but I knew Linda wasn't done. People like her don't accept defeat, they twist it into martyrdom. Sarah felt it too. That night, she walked in with a folder. Time to lawyer up, she said. If she wants a fight, she's getting one. For the first time in days, I felt a spark of strength. Linda thought we were weak, that I was sick. Sarah was just a nurse and the neighbors would stay quiet. She had no clue what she'd unleashed.